Yes, sir. How you doing?
Oh, just fine, sir. How you doing tonight?
Is it cold in Dallas?
No, not really. I just came in with me and the wife was running some errands.
Oh, okay.
A little, you know, a little chilly. I'm from Oklahoma. I can take the coldness though.
Yeah, well, I hear you talking. Oh, it must be cold. Oh, they put him outside. Brother Jones?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What they do? Put you outside again?
Huh?
They put you outside again?
Yeah, that's their thing. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, doing good. All is well.
That's good.
Okay, let me ask you while I got you here. You got the information about the Saturday Zoom meeting, right?
Right, I got it.
Okay, you got all the information. The sign in, and then we got to be on time.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. All right.
I got it.
We're going to get you there, brother Al. Just
Yes,
hold
sir.
on.
No problem. No problem.
Um,
How you doing, brother Al?
Oh, just fine, sir. How you doing today, brother Jones?
All right.
All right.
we're probably going to look at initiating
Uh-oh.
you come January.
Yes, sir.
So let the holidays slide by.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll move on from there. Um, Tonight we're talking about the book,
Mhm.
Masonic Maturity through the Scripture.
Yes, sir.
Uh, we got one more of these on the 15th, and then on the 12th, I'm gonna I'm gonna be moving fast because we're gonna do a 90-day preparation and the last orientation.
Okay.
So, uh, what else? I gotta put that in. Got another guy coming in, but he's already a master mason, and we're gonna see what we can do here.
I can tell you one thing. I had some very interesting studying.
Did you now?
Oh,
How? In
oh,
what
yeah.
manner?
Just as I was listening, you talking about Brother Mackey, and I went ahead and I read half of the book. I hadn't read the other half yet. I'm gonna probably do that the rest of this weekend over the weekend. The symbolism of Freemasonry, and I was like, wow, especially that we're dealing with Second Chronicles and First and Second Kings. We're talking about the transition periods and things of how the speculative masonry and operative masonry had came back together after it, at I guess you could say split at the tower. And just from everything, man, it's just I started studying different things, and it went from the Pythagorean theory to the 47 problem of Euclid to I'm like, I looked at my backyard. I even had it set up. I didn't even know that my dog sheds. I'm looking out there in my dog sheds. I said, okay, that's what's up.
But I had an interesting Zoom meeting, I guess last week, um, with one of the guys' brothers out of California,
Mhm.
and this brother is deep, and he talking all the specifics, and then he went into the Eastern stars and all that kind of good stuff. And I told him, I said, now hold on just a minute. You can
Yeah.
tell me all of this stuff, okay? But
Mhm.
tell me how to take it to the street.
All right.
See,
Well,
if you can't implement it,
yeah,
apply it in your life,
life.
then you just getting information.
Right.
See, so now understand that you
Yeah.
whatever it is, because I see now you gonna just go off and read, but you got to be able to apply that to your walk,
Well,
daily walk. Let me put it another way. It's like the Bible.
yeah.
You can read the Bible, identify the principles and the precepts. You can quote them. You can quote scripture. But if if once you close that door in the morning, going to work,
Yeah.
if you don't actually apply it in your life, then it's all for naught. Then you become what we call a Paul Parrot Mason.
Yeah. Well, well, see, you know what? The beautiful thing about my job is that I'm still like operational mason, and so throughout the day, just the things that I've read, even if I'm squaring different things off and doing different things, whether we fixing the floor or a wall or whatever that we're doing, then it starts to hit back to me, and that's and that's what kind of tripped me out. I'm at work
Yeah.
and stuff. Some of the stuff started actually sinking in and making sense on another level, though.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I was like, all right, okay. And I'm seeing this, of course, work wise, the operational side of it. But then, like you said, you have the speculative side. So you would really have to apply it. But I'm gonna try to do my best.
I got you. I got you. Well, you see, um, and let me see if I can find it so I can tell you specifically. Um, Bear with me here.
Okay.
Okay, Second Corinthians 5 and 1. For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of God, a house not made with hands, eternal in heaven. Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is that when I say apply it, I'm talking about in your dealings with me, with your coworkers, with the person you see going down the highway that cut you off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
so I'm talking about your walk, um, not necessarily tangible, but spiritual. Because the objective
Hmm.
is to build a better person, a better you.
Sir.
Okay. And so consequently, the biggest problem we have is in dealing with one another.
Yeah.
And if you want to get real down to the nitty gritty, blacks have a problem dealing with blacks.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're a manager or supervisor, so you run into the guys that don't want to respect you.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah, so you have to be prayed up to deal with some of us.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Well, I just try to keep it on the level, and I try to respect people, and I don't demand that same respect, but I think that I deserve that same respect. Now, you should give it, and if not, then we have an issue. But I'm always start off. I never try to belittle people, and that's my
Right.
thing. So as long as I'm treating this person fair, and I'm the person in authority,
Yeah.
so you know, if I'm treating you fair and I'm not talking to you crazy, you sure not finna talk to me crazy. So
Yeah.
that's try to just treat others as you would want to be treated.
Well, I talk to people crazy all the time.
Yeah. Well, I do sometimes too because I
No,
can get.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about me.
Oh,
I
you,
talk to
yeah.
people crazy. Jones can probably tell you a little bit about it because here's the thing that I look at. And I was talking to a brother right today. Um, I was telling him, he said, "Well, the way you get kind of hard on people sometimes." I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He said, "Well, I don't know whether you do it on purpose or," I said, "Sometimes on purpose."
Yeah.
I said, "But let me explain to you why. Because in my position, you brothers expect for me to operate on a certain level.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
hold me accountable for certain. If I tell you, bam, it starts at 8, you don't want to see me at 8:05. Okay?
Mhm.
Hold on a minute. I'm in a meeting. Okay. Okay, bye. So you hold me, you hold your leaders, your people that you manage or supervise, hold you to a certain level. Okay? But now hold on a minute, and I did this with the brother Wright. I said, well, let me make it clear. Let's say you got a girlfriend and you giving her what she wants, you doing what she asks you to do, you giving her 100%. But then
Mhm.
she tells you maybe, sometime. She tell you she gonna see you at 8. She shows up at 8:45. What you gonna do? You say, I'm gonna get rid of her. Okay. So my point is, you should always want to get what you give.
Yeah,
Okay. And unfortunately,
you don't.
our race of people,
Yeah.
and a lot of times the younger ones are real bad at it. You're supposed to just be happy with whatever I give you. You know, you come into Houston, you get a flat, you call me, I say, okay, brother Al, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 2.5 hours. Okay, and 4 hours later, I show up. See, you were 5 miles outside of Dallas. Okay. Okay. But, but but see, I'm telling you, giving you a story here because see, a Mason, you should tell a Mason, man, I'm 5 miles outside of Dallas,
Yeah.
and the brother should say, okay, so what's going on? I had a flat. Okay, I tell people all the time, if you tell me you had a flat, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm on my way, bye, and hang up. Well, hey, you didn't tell me where you were, so you gotta start off telling me where you are.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way it works, Jones?
Yes, sir.
So, but my point is, when I get there 4 hours later, you're supposed to be happy. Okay? My word was no good. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, my dog was sick, or I had to do this, or I had to do that, you know. And those excuses are supposed to be sufficient. When all I had to do is pick up the phone and say, hey, man, I had a flat, or something happened. I'm
Yeah.
going to be a little late, or whatever. You see, we're told how to conduct ourselves. You know, in masonry we talk about, and that's what going to the fellowcraft degree part 2, to maintain, sustain against opposition or danger, and to nurture whatever it is we are learning in the Masonic order. We have to make sure that we don't deviate from it.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if you've picked up on what the real purpose of masonry is. Now, I would like to think I made it clear, okay? And I'm not going to ask, I'm just going to tell you. But the real purpose of Freemasonry, as we know it, not with you and your work,
Yeah.
not operative, but speculative,
Speculative. Yeah.
is to get you, to get me back to God.
Right.
That's
That's
it.
yes, sir.
That's
Well,
it.
that was another thing I was reading about. Is man, it went so deep, and just a lot of different things I had been reading about over the years really just started to correlate with one another. And just talking about the speculative and the operational versus what you could call, I guess, the spurious masonry of the antiquity era versus the pure primitive masonry of that antiquity era. Also versus the pure primitive masonry versus the before the deluge, which would I guess be coming through the line of Seth, going all the way down through to the line of Noah, and of course, succeeding up into Solomon when he kind of reformed everything. So yeah, it was like I said, Man, it was deep. I was like, wow. It just so stuff just started hitting me, coming back to me. I was like, okay.
But
Okay.
see, this book is designed to walk you through, or walk a man from taken from out of the world
Yes,
all
sir.
the way to the Holy of Holies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and believe me, even though you've read it twice or three times or whatever, it's not gonna stick unless you can put the pictures to it. You can put the stories. You can pick out the
Sir.
stories.
Yeah.
Okay, because in there where I'm giving you, we were talking going to chapter 2,
Hmm.
which is struggles of the inner court.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so uh, the fact of, if you look at on, I say page 66, but it's chapter 2, struggles of the inner court.
Hmm.
Says, I think no better way to explain where you are now in your Masonic journey than to bring to your attention Galatians 5:16 and 21. And that's where the Apostle Paul tells the church, but I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Now you have to try and convert that into a picture to really understand, because every time you turn around, you are either hearing
Hmm.
someone, seeing someone, or you yourself are talking about what I want. And who's I?
The flesh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to picture yourself stepping out of that. For the desires of the flesh are against the spirit,
Yes,
and the
sir.
desires of the spirit are against the flesh. For these are opposed to each other to keep you from doing the things you want to do. See, you can want something,
Yeah.
but then you have to try and get it the proper way. You have to make sure that it is for you.
For you. Yeah.
You know, we get awfully impatient. And so at this point in your Masonic journey, um, this is where you get exposed to a whole bunch of eyes from other men talking to them and so forth. That's one of the reasons why when you start off, we say sleep little, study much, talk little, listen much. Don't talk all the time. I mean,
Yes,
if
sir.
you're given an opportunity to teach, you talk. Other than that, you need to listen.
Yes, sir.
And the reason for that is you get to identify who's walking right and who's not. Sorry about that. My wife over here just coming in. So, but you get to identify, and hopefully by the Spirit, who's walking right and who's not. Because you need to know how much time you need to spend with me.
Yeah.
If I'm not walking right, okay, let's go back to the story of the talents, parable of the talents.
Check.
Okay, if I'm not good ground,
Hmm.
okay, or no, I'm sorry, it's the parable of the sower.
Sower the seeds.
Yeah, if I'm not good ground,
Hmm.
then why would you put your seed in me?
Yeah.
Why would you do? Why would and what is your seed?
Yeah.
What seed do you have? What's the number one seed you have?
The time.
Amen. You don't put your time in me if I'm not right.
Yeah.
Hey, brother Ware, how you doing? Man, everything going okay? Good. Man, well, I don't know, man. I'm having, yeah, really? Okay, man. you know,
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my agents some years ago. This brother is going to tell me that people didn't buy insurance policies the last week or two of the month. Okay. Now
What's that type of story?
we sell insurance.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell me
Mhm.
People don't buy the last week or two of the month. Man, I came that close to losing all religion. I told him, don't he? I can't tell you what I told him. Okay, but my point was this: why, why you want to put that in my head?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes,
you
sir.
run into that same thing in the lodge. I'm gonna tell you. So you have to be particular about where you put your seed. Now I slapped his hand with a contract that I had just written around the 27th of the month. So I told him, don't tell me no garbage like that. Well, that's you. Okay, fine. If you feel bad, you
Mhm.
feel down, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're not smart enough to get with a man who is doing what you're having problems doing,
Mhm.
then don't come dumping garbage on my front porch.
Right.
And see, when you get to this point, and this is this chapter starts you. It's in the fellowcraft degree. It's in the inner court.
Mhm.
Okay, you you came in out of the rain. You start identifying and listening to the principles and precepts and so forth. Now in this spot, you in this court in the inner court, you get to do a little few things. You get to try your strength. Okay, build your strength, and you got to build your resilience and your ability to repel bull come.
Yes, sir.
So that's just I want you to be. In other words, you got to get thick skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you got to get thick skin because you're gonna meet some Masons in the Dallas area, and they're gonna have this to say, that to say, or whatever the case may be. Okay, you're gonna come to our lodge meetings. Some of them gonna have this to say, that to say, and so forth. Some are not gonna say anything constructive because they're gonna just be, well, okay. Some people really get into the Masonic order to advance their business. Some get in it for the knife and fork. We call them knife and fork Masons. In other words, they want to party and have a good time. Okay. Some become Paul Parrot Masons. They want to learn and be able to go and show how big and strong they are and how much they know. But the real man, you will find him rarely saying anything unless, again, he's in a teaching mode
Yes, sir.
because he is actually walking it out. Brother Jones, you got anything to say? You got all that
Yep.
smoke coming out of there.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay.
What page you was on?
Uh, okay. I'm on page 66, but I'm in.
I think it's 51 in my book.
Yeah, it might be because see, it's
Yeah, it's page 51.
part two, Fellowcraft, chapter two.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you why there's a difference in the page numbers. Because initially I had the book printed by a local printer, and I used larger fonts. My typing, my words, and so forth are bigger than what's in that book. The one you have, you got from Amazon. Okay,
Yeah.
so don't get upset if
Oh,
I'm
no.
saying page 66 and you on page 50, because see, I have a total of 22 pages in here,
Yes, sir.
and you have a total of how many pages?
I think
90 something.
92.
Yeah, there you
92.
go. See, so the reason the difference is there is because of the size of print. Okay. But now we have to understand what the desires of the flesh are. And these are them on the next page where you have them in four groups. Okay. Well, I said desires of the flesh. Basically, if you are led by the flesh, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are evident. Okay. And that's what they are in four groups. Okay. Every man has a demon. So that means you and I also.
Yes,
We
sir.
have a weakness. What is our demon? It's whatever is going to take us away
Mhm.
from our path. See, the end result, the end game in this whole process is to get back to God. That's all it is.
Yeah.
The same objective of the Christian faith is to
Yeah.
get back to God. Now, Jesus says he is what?
The way, the truth, and the life.
Okay. The way, the what?
Truth and the life.
Okay. Now, if you live in your life and you telling a lie all the time, okay?
Not truth. He had to do some examining to straighten it up.
Okay. See, I want some people out with that about the lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, first off, you got to realize every lie has an expiration date.
Yes, sir.
So you can tell a lie if you want to,
Hmm.
but it's going to come out. Second thing, what is a lie?
Uh, I guess anything, something that's false, that's not the truth. Anything that goes against the word of God.
She always told me anything that's not truthful. Okay. Yeah, if it goes against God.
Mhm.
But now let's go back to my example earlier. Okay. I'm trying to, I told you if you mess with me,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to be a little thick skinned because you're gonna be charged up by folks.
Mhm.
You called me and told me you had a flat, and I told you I'd be there in 2.5 hours, and I got there in 4 hours. What did I do?
You lied.
Bottom line. Now, if I'm telling a lie, whether it's against the word of God or just to you personally,
Mhm.
okay, and Jesus said he's what?
The way, the truth, and the life.
Okay. How can two come together
Mhm.
if they don't agree?
Check.
How can I get with him if I can't tell the truth?
Truth.
Now, we do know there's some extenuating circumstances. Baby, does it look like I'm gaining weight? you're on your own on that one. Okay. Yeah, baby, you get on to a whole bunch of weight. you you gonna pay for it. Okay. But how can we agree? You know, if you're doing what you're supposed to do as a worker or as a manager, and I'm not fulfilling my part, how can we come together? See, so when it says Masons come together and work together, men coming together and working together as a unit, as one, that means everything got to be on the square. You got to be truthful. You got to be forthright. You got to be righteous. And if you falter, your brother is there to help you.
Yeah.
So if I couldn't make it there in 2.5 hours
Mhm.
because you were supposed to be 2.5 hours away, I should be able to call Brother Jones or another brother and say, hey, man, I need you to help me.
Yeah.
I got a brother that's distressed. Bam, bam. Can you get to him? Now, man, I'm tired of so and so, so and so. Who can I call? See, I need to work as diligently to get you off the side of the road as I would myself.
Yeah.
It is totally unacceptable for me not to call, not to say anything, not to show or show up late. Now, you want to talk about being a Mason? That's what it's about.
Yeah.
When you
Brother
talk,
Brian,
go ahead.
I said one of my teachers in Sunday school, he always used to tell us to, to be on time, you have to be ahead of time. Be a man of your word. I totally agree.
Well, and you're going to get a meeting scheduled. But, Brother Jones, talk to us. You've been around for a hot minute. What have you seen in your travels?
What have I seen in my travels?
Yeah.
As far as what?
As far as what we're talking about. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. What have you experienced and seen brothers do and how they act in the Masonic order along the lines of what we're talking about?
Well, I can tell you it's a lot of fabrication. There've been a lot of brothers who say they're gonna be there for you, and they really don't be there for you. That was been my experiences, and before I got to the lodge I'm in now,
Yeah.
Mount Tabor. But I believe it should be how you say. If you say you're gonna be there in 2 hours, you should be there in 2 hours. Because if you call me and I'm gonna give you my word, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be there. And I'm gonna be there within the time I told you I'm gonna be there. And if I can't be there within that time, then I'm gonna call and let you know the reason why I can't be there in that time. But there are some brothers who say they're gonna come and they just never show up. You don't even hear from them. You call them, they won't answer their phone.
Yeah.
Things like that. But
they're Masons.
Masons.
They are Masons.
They are Masons.
Yeah, Masons.
They got the ring, they got the symbol.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have a lot of people sometimes join for the wrong reasons too. Yeah. They just want that compass and square on their finger or around their neck or on their calls, and they're not really concerned really about the craft and helping one another. They just out for self.
Now, there are men. I was telling one guy this meeting I was on last week. I said they are Masonic males and they are Masonic men. Okay. Now that came to me because I noticed one of my sons years ago, a couple of years ago or whatever, when he was talking about the young ladies he was seeing, he would say this female. He would always refer to them as a female.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Never my girlfriend, my lady friend. Okay. Nothing personal.
Yeah.
Up close. It was a female. You with me?
Come on.
We have in the Masonic Lodge males, but we are supposed to have men. Now, if you are going to be a Masonic man, that is 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not when it's convenient. Okay, let me back up. If you're going to be a Christian and serve God,
mm-hmm.
how many days a week, how many hours a day do you have to do that?
Every day.
How many days a year?
Every day, all day long.
Okay.
All year long.
So, and that's because you're seeking to be next to the way, the truth, and the life. And the purpose of Masonry is that. Now, when you want to talk about the Masonic maturity through Scripture, this book is supposed to guide you so that you can get in the presence of the way, the truth, and the light. Make sense?
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
Now, now look here, it says on the same page with the 4 groups, it says the enemies of the spirit should not be present in the lodge or residing in any of the brothers. Now, we talked about those 4 enemies: the sensual, spiritual, social, and personal.
Okay.
What page was that? 50 what?
I lost it.
Okay, I'm looking at page 66.
Okay. 60, 48.
Okay, but
What
it
says,
said,
the works of the flesh are evident. I will put them in 4 groups: sensual, spiritual,
there you
social.
go. That's those are the enemies. And those enemies should not be present in the lodge.
Check.
Now, let me give you another example. I've never, you bring your wife to a lodge function. You don't expect to hear or sit your wife next to a guy who made comments about a woman that looked like your wife. You got a Raven Beauty on your hand. You got a Coke bottle, as we used to say back in the 60s. Okay? And you heard this guy talking weeks ago, days ago, about what he did and what he want to do and all that kind of good stuff. Okay? That's a problem. So my point is, none of that should go on in the lodge.
Yeah.
Okay? None of the sensual, none of the spiritual, or the social. Jealousy, strife, anger, rivalries, drunkenness in terms of personal, no divisions, no envy. You know, we have to come together to work on each other. Because when I get you to explaining what a symbol is and how it's working for us and so forth, what it's supposed to symbolize in my life, then I can take that to the street tomorrow. Okay? But I can't take to the street how much Crown Royal you drunk day before yesterday.
Right.
So you're understanding what the lodge is all about?
Yes,
See,
sir.
and when you get to this point, you are definitely have to be focused. Go down to the bottom of that paragraph where it says, taking nothing personal because all contribute to your growth. Proverbs 4:25. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. I say all the time, it's amazing how God is so smart because He put our eyes in front of us, not on the side, not behind us. Which way are we supposed to move? Okay, now let's say this. We all have a demon, and life is going to make it hard for us every time we decide we want to do something better.
Yeah.
Trials and tribulations. But our eyes are where?
Focused on the goal, moving straight forward in a straight line.
Our eyes are in the front of our head.
Yeah.
And if we use our eyes properly, we're going to do what you just said. We're going to look to the goal. We're going to look to the press toward the mark. Because anytime I start thinking about what Jones did to me last week and said to me, and I get mad all over again, then I have stopped my forward progress and started looking back. Now you run into a lot of this when you get to that second and third degree. You run into a lot of this at home
Yeah. And at work.
and at work.
I got a story for every type of scenario, name, because man, oh my goodness, people are something else.
But see, you can only be responsible for yourself.
Yourself.
And then at the same time, you have to, there's a place for everything and everything. Well, there's a place for everything and everybody.
Yeah.
Everything and everybody has to be in their place.
In place. Like a smooth, perfect Ashley.
Well, no, no, it had nothing to do with Ashlis. Because, see, you might be deemed as such, but I'm not. So again, I'm trying to bend your ear about something negative about Brother Jones,
Yeah.
or I'm something going on in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so there's a place for everything and every person. You got to put everything and every person in their place so that it does not affect you.
You, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that. And that's exactly correct. And just like you were saying the other day, well, not the other day, I guess the day as I was listening to KRC, I listened to it a couple of times, and about the story about the body and the hand and who's the most important,
Right.
and like you said, everybody has to function, and if one part of it doesn't function, then the whole thing is messed up. It's thrown out of whack because it doesn't function. It's like I said, it's like that on the job all the time. Had a guy call in today, and we're a lone staff right now. So and this is supposed to be my next senior guy to me. And like I told him, when you're not here, everything whatever you were supposed to be doing, now I got to do that. And
Yeah.
somebody else has to do that. So we already a small crew right now that's stressed, and then now you put more stress while we already stretched out.
Same thing. That's what Jones was talking about the
Yeah.
lodge.
Yeah.
Because men, they know you have a meeting on Thursday night, but they don't show.
Yeah.
Okay, or they come in late.
Oh, don't come in at all.
Yeah. So what you have to do
Yeah.
is be responsible for yourself, and that's why, uh, yeah, you want to bring men into the lodge,
Yeah.
but you want to make sure that they want something,
Yeah.
because see, none of this works. Nor does this work.
Okay.
Neither one of these work if you don't want something and want it bad.
Yeah.
Want it to the point where you will go to great lengths. It's got to be a burning desire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what do you think the definition of a burning desire is?
It's something you gotta have.
Exactly. Once you have a burning desire, then you're gonna follow the principles and the precepts.
Yeah.
And you're gonna say, hey, brother, where I understand what you're saying, man, but hey, you need to take that up with Brother Jones. Or Brother Ware or Brother Wright. I don't need to hear that.
Yeah, don't need to hear it. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Now, what happens if I attack you?
Well, if you attack me,
You gonna get it on. See, there you go.
I guess you gotta defend yourself.
To that, I'm gonna say maybe. Remember, every lie has an expiration date.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a guy, man, just he raked me over the coals,
Oh
stuck
yeah.
a knife in my back and turned it and twisted it, and
Mm-hmm.
I could have,
Went off.
yeah, I could have done a whole bunch of stuff. Let me see. I got to get rid of this other deal here. Um, but anyway, what I did was I just went on and said, forget it. You know, he winded up getting out of the lodge because I sent him a letter telling him he was relieved of all of his positions. Okay. And he came by one day trying to uh,
Apologize.
halfway, halfway, yeah, apologize. What he did was he told me why he did what he did, why he told the lie, but never admitted it was a lie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all I'm saying to you is this: you might have to defend yourself, and there's some things you let go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
because again, if you're walking in truth,
mhm.
who's on your side
God.
in truth?
Yo, the truth,
Okay,
definitely. Right. And
so
yeah,
go ahead. I'm listening.
yeah, just like you said, the truth. Sometimes I was just thinking about, you know, you can have a differential, not an argument. Just say you don't agree, a disagreement with your wife or whatever,
Right.
and you know you're right, but for you to go ahead and go through all that, it's gonna be probably like a whole bunch of grief on you, or you can let it go
Well, let's
because you know you're right, and so it don't matter.
yeah. If it's not going to affect where
Mhm.
you two are headed,
Yeah.
you might let that go. But if a lot of times men, and my pastor talked about this a while back, and he and I had a conversation. Men for peace, PEACE,
Mhm.
sakes, will be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay,
I hear you.
knowing it's wrong and knowing it's gonna hurt something down the road, but don't want to argue. And my point is,
You got to say something.
you got to say something.
Yeah, you got at that point. Yeah.
You know, you
I,
might have
I
to.
was just talking about non-trivial matters that don't matter. That's what I was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
If it
yeah.
don't matter, just let it go. Because if not, then you can spend 10 minutes on it. You're still gonna be right. But yeah, if it's something definitely that
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's now if you go a couple of pages over where we have the again Galatians 5:16 through 26. One of the uh, decalogues, and in the Masonic order we have 10 commandments, just like in the Bible. But number 7 says, "Thou shalt avoid and flee from insincere friendships." So what I'm driving at here is you shouldn't join a lodge that you are not comfortable in. You
yeah,
shouldn't join a lodge that you don't grow in. You only should join a lodge that has a kindred spirit.
mm,
In other words, what is it you're after? How do you want to live your life? Then that's the type of lodge you need to be a member of.
right.
If I like to party, then I need to be in a lodge that likes to
Like the
party.
party.
If I'm in a lodge that want to talk about uh, God and righteousness and being upright and forthright and so forth, I'm gonna lose interest. I'm not gonna apply myself properly.
Right.
Okay. If I'm in a lodge that want to march in parades and give away bicycles for Christmas and turkeys for Thanksgiving, okay, and I want to talk about building up my inner man and my spirit, I'm not going to be proactive with that lodge because we don't have kindred spirits. We're hidden and missing.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
hear you.
saying any of that is bad,
Hmm.
okay? All I'm saying is you have to try and get with a lodge and brothers,
Yeah.
men that have the same interests.
Yeah. Uh, if I could impart something,
Go
I
ahead.
was just really so overwhelmed. When I first had talked to you, I told you this was back in last year, And of course, there was no pandemic then. And
Right.
so you had told me that I had to, check a lodge out down here. And so I just thought that it was just awesome and a working of God, really, the way that I guess, the pandemic came in and then I was able to go back to the place that I originally wanted to go to in the first place.
Hmm. Okay.
I just thought that was awesome. Yeah.
And then I know a grandmaster too in that area, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to visit a lodge. You might be feel like a kind of outcast. I don't know exactly how deep his teachings are, but as far as learning some of, see, once you are initiated and you get your ritual,
Mhm.
then you really start looking at the actual symbols and signs and all that kind of good stuff, and you can remember that, you can study that, but the actual understanding of it is uh, where the meat is. Okay, and that's what I want to make sure you get.
Yeah.
Uh, we're talking about these 10 commandments. Number 9 says, "Thou shalt hear much, thou shalt speak little, thou shalt act well, thou shalt forget injuries." Remember, I asked you, what if a person attacks you?
Mhm.
Okay, you'll render good for evil, and you're not going to misuse your authority, strength, or superiority. Okay, so you got to be Masons are to be fair and just, and you have to know who you're dealing with because all of us should have a high degree of integrity. Without integrity, you cannot follow God's instructions.
Yes, sir.
So it's and that on the page of next page over there it talks about the parable of the sword.
Mhm.
Okay, so um, we just have to we have to make sure we're walking right, fellas. Uh, I'm not gonna keep the log, but I'm in this with what a preacher told me a couple of days ago. He says, "Brother, well, you always gonna reap what you sow." I said, "Yeah, yeah, that makes sense, you know." And of course, when you start off thinking when you get that saying, that scripture, be not deceived, God will not be mocked. For man, whatsoever you sow, you shall reap.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, we think about that. So if I do something good for Jones, then something's good gonna happen to me. If I do something bad to you,
Yeah.
something bad's gonna happen to me. No problem. I understand that. But what I don't understand and what I don't know, and this is what the preacher told me. He says, God got it figured out that we will never ever know when we're going to reap it,
Mhm.
how severe or how much we going to reap,
Right.
okay, and what we're going to reap.
Great.
Now, think about that. So, if I have an opportunity to do something bad to you,
Mhm.
okay, you dropped $100 bill, I pick it up, I got a choice. And I sure could use this 100.
Yeah.
Put it in my pocket. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen. And I don't know to what degree it's gonna
It's
happen.
gonna happen.
That
Yeah.
I didn't say, Brother Al, you just dropped the $100 bill.
Right.
Now think about that.
Oh,
When he,
yeah, I
when he
agree.
said that, when he said that, I'm going, I ain't never thought about all of that. I haven't heard you gonna reap what you sow. But to that extent, okay, we really need to walk upright
Right.
and practice righteous virtues.
Yeah.
Now, let me throw another extension on that. Maybe I won't reap keeping your $100. Okay. So I got by, right? Brother
No,
Jones, did I get by?
Huh?
Did I
Yeah,
get by? Did I got by?
got by.
If you sow, you're gonna reap. I might not reap the penalty for the error in my way. See, I told you, you don't know what your reaping is gonna be. You don't know to what extent, and you don't know when. I'm gonna give you a fourth one. If you think you got by, it can be passed on to your son, your son's sons, or your son's son's son. 4 generations. Hello. You've heard generational curses, right?
yeah, I heard.
Okay. That's all it means. If I did something wrong, there's gonna be a payment. So should I keep your $100? It wouldn't be smart, huh?
No.
No, not at all.
Okay. Should I tell that lie on you? Wouldn't be smart. If I'm standing in the midst of some brothers and a brother is telling a lie on somebody, I need to do one or two things. Either get away from it
Yeah,
or stop it.
yeah, speak out. One
You
of the two.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
This is the type of stuff you run into in you begin to run into in that inner court because people start talking, they feel free of talking around you, you're talking, and so forth. But I'm saying maintain that hear much, speak little,
You know,
because you still want to perfect the identifying of spirits.
and you
If
can't
you,
listen
huh?
if you it said you can't listen to learn if you're talking.
Hey, we can all sing together, but we can't talk. We all can't talk at the same time. And
Right.
bottom line is, 9 times out of 10, most people are not even listening to what you're saying because they're thinking about what they want to say. But you see, when you read the book, the next step is going into the Holy of Holies. And what's in the Holies of Holies? That's where you want to be.
Yes, sir.
So the struggle is in this degree here in this middle inner court because it's kind of like being 17 to 30 age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
You're still young. You feel like you can do anything. You know everything. Okay. So, any,
I was gonna say,
what
good thing my bones are a little brittle. All right, so that should slow me down some.
I hear you.
Let me think a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, buddy. So what you thinking? What's your comments
As far as
as
what
far
we've
as
been talking about,
what we've
uh,
been talking about?
I love it every time we get together and talk. I just always draw knowledge, and it inspires me, and it makes me want to go back and read and learn and do more things. Like I said, here lately, especially I guess this last couple of weeks or so, just me as far as my walk, and I know I've been getting better at it. I've been a lot of different things that I've been paying attention and focusing on. But it seems like even the more I focus on it, like you said, here comes different tests and different
Yeah,
things. And it's like first, in which everything is still going fine with the job and everything and inspections, but had to fire some folks, uh, don't have the people to replace them. So, you know, that's always something you got to think about too. And just even me personally, as far as like I said, I've been noticing and I've been seeing, I guess, starting to receive some of the benefits of trying to tighten up my personal walk. Just different things that I know that I had been falling short on, and now certain things that were catch 22s, which I should have been known was catch 22s. I knew they were catch 22s anyway, but like I said, we started paying attention to them, and then you can start to feel better as a man, knowing that hey, like you said, if you drop that $100 bill, I'm gonna go ahead and give it back to you. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just like you said, it's different little tests and different little things that you have to apply every day as you live it and just walking through regular life. And that's, I guess that's really what it's about, you know.
And we'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, and you probably won't, but people would be surprised at how serious the small things are. You know,
Yeah,
a mountain don't just boom, it's a mountain.
yeah,
It's bits and 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 bits that create a mountain. You know, what's the old phrase? How do you eat an elephant?
one bite at a time.
That's it. You know, if you look at an ant bed, an ant mound can be high.
Yeah.
It didn't just manifest itself like that. And little things hurt it. Brother Jones, talk to us.
All right, brother Al. Let me ask
Yes,
you a
sir.
question right quick. Are you already a Mason or are you just coming in?
I'm just coming in, but I grew up in the Ezine district, and we were brought up as crusaders and royal ambassadors, and it's like a lot of the stuff that we was taught is just coming back to me now. You know, as a youth, you grow up, you start as a crusader when you are 6, and then you become a royal ambassador when you are 12. So, and there
Okay.
was a lot of teaching and initiations and everything involved in that up until like 1985, and then they stopped doing it. Well, about 1990, somewhere off in that time period. Anyway, uh, like I said, I came up in an organization that seemed like were training men or young black men to become Masons. They had that. They had the Young Black Men's Forum. It just, was a whole lot of things going on, and I got away from that. And just as I'm getting back into it, it seems like I was telling Dr. Ware earlier, uh, so many things just start to correlate now from, even way back then just to right now. Even a book I was reading by Dr. Charles Larkins, it's called The Great Dispensation. And it was talking about the deluge, and as far as it was mentioning Noachides and different things like that. So then once I started reading um the book about with Dr. Mackey, everything just really, when I said started blending in, it was just like, okay, wow. And then I do a little studying, and I don't speak Hebrew fluently, but I'm learning to speak Hebrew. So
Basically, he takes advantage of the internet and all this. Okay, and you know what? We run into that nowadays because men will do research on their own and pull these books and so forth. Again, you got to make sure that you are maintaining a kindred spirit because a lot of this, there's one author, I'm not going to call his name,
Mhm.
but there's one author of several Masonic books.
Yeah.
He was never a Mason.
Well, brother Al, I'm gonna tell you this. In my travels, I've been traveling for about 20 years. 20 years.
Sure.
And Mount Tabor is the first Grand Lodge that I have came to that speaks the truth. Okay,
Okay.
what I mean by speak the truth. When I say speak the truth, Grand Master is speaking from the Bible point of view, which is the truth.
Yes, sir.
And everything he shows you coincides with the ritual.
Hmm.
But the Bible is the rule and guide. Now, I've been in plenty of lodges, they'll tell you, well, it don't have nothing to do with Jesus, it don't have nothing to do with that,
Yeah.
it's not a religion. I'm here to tell you, masonry can't make you a better man.
Yeah.
It can't make you a better man. You can't even make you a better man. The only way you become a better man is when you get the Holy Spirit. That Holy Spirit gonna lead you and guide you. It has the mind of Christ. Okay, and so our teaching in Mount Tabor is to change the inner man
Hmm.
because we realize we have a connection with heaven. So you have to change it spiritually for it to manifest physically.
Yes, sir.
And that's what this Lord teaches. You know, I have conversations with a lot of Masons, and sometimes they don't understand that concept.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. We need to get back to the primitive, pure masonry. And that's, you know, what was taught by God to the patriarchs.
But see, a lot of lodges don't teach that.
Yeah,
A lot
because
of
a
them
lot
don't
of
teach
lodges
that.
are spurious lodges, and they come, you know, from the diaclonists, like, you know, even like as we was talking earlier, you know, that was back to merging, you know, from the speculative, which was those who were taught, you know, the pure masonry, and then they had to go back in with the, you know, those from Tyre, which of course were spurious masonry, and you know,
But if
had
you read that book,
been corrupted.
I heard you talking about Albert Pike. You said something about Albert Pike earlier, right?
No, I said Albert G. Mikey, but I've read a few books about Albert Pike. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You talking about the Macus, Judas, or Prudence?
No, he hadn't gotten that far yet.
Nah.
Okay.
The only reason I know is because I heard him mention it once, and since I heard him mention it, I wouldn't read it.
But two things. The meeting I was on last week, we had probably 13, 14 brothers on it from different parts of the country, and all Masons, a couple of grandmasters and so forth. And I made the statement that one of the biggest lies we tell in Freemasonry is we take good men and make them better. That is the biggest lie we tell. And everybody got quiet. Because in every book you're going to read, Masons take good men and make them better. So everybody got quiet because they wanted to know what the heck was I talking about. Okay? And so I explained it to them and they understood once I said it. Okay? But my point is simply this. Reading is, as they used to say, fundamental.
Yes, sir.
You know, if a person doesn't read, and I'm saying this because I intend to put this on the YouTube channel, but when it comes down to reading, if you don't read and I read, I can tell you anything I want to tell you, and you're going to believe it.
Right.
So it is essential if you're going to be a man, not a male, but a man, you need to read. And when you reading does a number of things for you. Reading has a number of benefits for you. Number one, it strengthens your critical thinking. Okay. Number two, it improves your focus. Okay. And number three, it kicks your imagination in high gear. And so that way, when you read, you can't help but move forward. But again, if you are a doctor, you got to stay studied. You got to continue to read. If you're a lawyer, you got to continue to read. If you are a chemist, pick a profession. Basically, you need to read. If you're going to be a Mason, you're going to have to read because you need critical thinking because Masons are supposed to be individual thinkers. The Masons are to be thinkers. If you are going to be a Mason, you need to have that analytical thinking. You need to be able to focus on where you want to go, how you want to get there, and what you have to do to get there. And you cannot just pull that out of the air. It doesn't work. Now, you might get the idea out of the air from the spirit, but in order to map out your plan according to how and what to do and when to do, you're going to have some type of educational foundation.
2 Timothy 2:16.
There you go. Brothers, it's been good. I am going to, again, with your permission, I'll put this on the YouTube channel. They're going to see that big cigar, man. I'm going to get you to Cuba so you can get a real one, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I got you. All right. Hold on a minute, brother Jones. I need to talk to you. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right, gentlemen. It's
Hold
been
on.
real.
Thank you, sir. Brother Al.
Yes, sir.